In another chilling shot, Dale glances directly into the surveillance camera, as if silently acknowledging it, or pleading in vain for help. This was the last time he was ever seen. Welcome back to another volume of the Creepy Marathon Month. Now, I have a slight cold at the moment, so forgive my nasally voice. Hopefully it will add even more eeriness to these terrifying stories and videos. There is no way I'm not going to be uploading these daily videos in the run up to Halloween. Now, if you haven't already done so, hit those lights, sit back, and enjoy. The Creepy Creature. Imagine enjoying an evening sitting around with your friends listening to music, chatting, and laughing, when a pale, hunched-over creature with glowing red eyes decides it would like to get involved. This was the reality faced by a group of friends who were lucky enough to spot the creepy creature before it was too late, managing to retreat back into the safety of their home. However, their nightmare was only just beginning. In a series of events that could have been ripped straight from a Stephen King novel, the red-eyed creature then proceeded to stalk the outside of the house, attempting to make entry, presumably to harm the individuals. Take a look.
Dude, okay. I think we left some spawn up there. Yeah, we left some. This is fun. It doesn't matter. Bro, we'll get it later. We'll get it later. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. Yeah, he's scary. Hey, get back. Oh my god, fuck. What the fuck is this? Is the side door locked? I don't know, man. I don't know. Holy shit. So how come the side door's locked? Wait, Nick, did you lock the door? Did you lock it? Did you lock this door? I don't want to get close to the door. Holy crap. Fuck, stop. Make sure it's locked. No, make sure it's locked. Okay. That is creepy as hell. Dude. What the fuck is that, dude?
Pretty creepy. It was lucky that the friends were able to spot the creature's glowing red eyes before it was too late, as who knows what would have happened. Once the friends have successfully made it back into the house, the creature can be seen through what appears to be the window of a front door, where it looks to be trying the door handle and searching for any way in which it can get in. It's here when we get the clearest view of the cryptid. It appears to resemble Gollum from Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films, or regular viewers of Top 5s will recognise its similarity to sightings we have shared of the Rake or Skinwalkers. The movement of this creature is fluid and predatory, like an animal stalking its prey. From the front door, the creature appears to notice another entryway into the house through the garage door. As the friends enter the garage themselves to make sure the door is locked, a humanoid hand can be seen pressing against the glass. It is here that we can also see the panic caused by the presence of this creature on one of the friends, who appears to be bravely barring the door with his body, but also clearly afraid of what is on the other side. What makes this encounter truly terrifying isn't just the appearance of the creature, but its relentless persistence. It didn't flee when discovered, it didn't hide when confronted. Instead, it stalked more, circling the home as though it was prey, peering through windows, its glowing eyes never straying from its target. At times, it was separated from its victims by only a few millimeters of glass. Now, whether this was a hoax, a real-life cryptid, or something far more malevolent is anyone's guess. But the footage leaves behind one undeniable truth. Whatever was out there that night was searching them, and it definitely wanted in. The disappearance of David Glenn Lewis. Now, this is one of the most mysterious disappearance cases I've ever heard of. In January of 1993, a quiet and unsettling mystery unfolded in Amarillo, Texas. David Glenn Lewis was a 39-year-old devoted husband, father, and well-respected lawyer, a man known locally for his compassion, charitable work, and as a popular Sunday school teacher and chairman of Boy Scouts of America. On Thursday the 28th of January, his wife Karen and their young daughter left town for a shopping trip to Dallas, around 400 miles away, whilst David stayed home alone, saying he wanted to watch the Super Bowl. When they returned home 3 days later, the first signs of something unusual began to emerge. The family home was quiet. David's car was parked outside, and inside the lights and television were still on. Laundry was still tumbling in the dryer. The the tape recorder continued to run, and there was food left out in the kitchen, a loaf of bread and 2 turkey sandwiches, as if someone had been about to have a meal. But perhaps the most disturbing of all, his watch and treasured wedding ring had been left on the kitchen counter. It was as though he had stepped away from his life in the middle of a day and simply never returned. Karen initially surmised David had gone out to watch the Super Bowl or to the office to catch up on work, and so simply went to bed as though everything was normal. You must remember, there were no mobile phones back then, so she couldn't simply try and call him. However, with no sign of him the following day, she reported her husband missing, and investigators began to struggle to piece together the scattered clues. Friends and colleagues described David as hard-working and responsible, hardly the type to seek attention through some sort of hoax or cruel prank. There were no suggestions of a struggle, nothing disturbed in the house that would point towards burglary or foul play, and any obvious sign of trouble in his work or family life. Yet his checkbook, credit cards, and driver's license were all gone. Had he left voluntarily, or had something sinister taken place? Over the course of the 3 days that Karen and her daughter were in Dallas, numerous witnesses reported seeing David on these days, in a series of inexplicable scenarios. On Friday 29th, a member of the church congregation claimed to have saw David rushing frantically through the Southwest Airlines terminal at Amarillo Airport, despite having no luggage or travel plans. On Saturday, an unknown benefactor deposited $5,000 into the Lewis account, and police later said this was also the day of his last confirmed sighting, but they never elaborated on where this was or by who. On Sunday 31st, a plane ticket was purchased in David's name for a flight from Amarillo to Dallas, the exact same place his wife and daughter were just returning from, although it's not known whether he or the individual seemingly impersonating him ever actually boarded. An Amarillo deputy sheriff reported to have seen a man matching his description taking photographs outside of the Pottery County Court's building in town, placing him in 2 locations at once, and unusually, the man appeared to be taking photographs of his own parked vehicle. On Monday the 1st of February, the day Karen notified the police, another plane ticket was purchased under David Lewis, this time for a flight from Los Angeles to Dallas, but again it's unconfirmed if anyone actually used it. However, a Dallas cab driver drove someone matching David's description from a hotel to Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport that same day, recalling that he was nervous, fumbling, and paid from a large wad of $100 bills, presumably the mystery $5,000. On February 2nd, 3 days after the last confirmed sighting of David, his Ford Explorer was noticed to still be parked outside the Potter County Court's building, and concealed underneath a floor mat inside was his keys, driver's license, and credit cards. Days then turned into weeks, and weeks into years. For over a decade, David's disappearance remained a haunting cold case, whilst his family lived with unanswered questions, tormented by the absence of closure. Then 11 years later, the mystery took an unexpected turn. A detective from Washington State Patrol, whilst examining cold case files, discovered an unsettling link between David's disappearance and an unclaimed John Doe, who had been killed in a hit-and-run accident in Moxie, Washington on February 3, 1993. At 10:30 p.m., motorists traveling along State Route 24 reported a disorientated male walking in the road, driving a little further on before turning back around to help. Yet, in that short space of time, the man had been struck by another vehicle, believed to be a Chevrolet Camaro, driving away from the scene, but the driver or occupants have never come forward. Dressed in military-style fatigues and boots, the victim was carrying no identification and was so buried as a John Doe shortly after. When Amarillo and Washington investigators compared DNA samples, a 99.91% match confirmed the astonishing truth. The man killed that night was David Glenn Lewis. Despite providing closure, this revelation also seemed to deepen the mystery. How had David travelled nearly 1,600 miles away to a completely random location, not even listed on either of the purchased plane tickets? Why was he walking here alone on a rural road late at night, dressed in clothes that Karen was certain he never owned? And why had no one connected him to the hit-and-run victim for more than a decade, despite national attention in the case? The tragic discovery settled one chapter, but the rest of the answers remain elusive. Was David fleeing from something or someone, Or did he accidentally stumble into a fate he could never escape? Let us know your thoughts and theories on this one in the comments below. Bizarre UFO footage. This next footage comes from Romania and was filmed in 2011 by an eyewitness who claimed to have first spotted something strange in the sky before quickly managing to capture it on camera. What begins as an ordinary view of a distant hillside soon becomes one of the most intriguing pieces of UFO footage ever recorded. Firstly, take a look at this. Now, if this footage is a hoax, it's an extraordinarily well-made one. The attention to detail is remarkable. When the object shifts position, a faint shadow can be seen rippling across the hillside, perfectly aligned with the sun and the shadows of nearby buildings. That level of consistency would be difficult to fake, suggesting that whatever was filmed was truly physically present in the sky that day. What is also especially fascinating is the object's shape. It bears an uncanny resemblance to the so-called Tic Tac UFO encountered by US Navy fighter pilots and later declassified by the Pentagon. Yet this Romanian video was recorded long before the Nimitz encounter was ever made public. For those unfamiliar, on November 14, 2004, during routine naval exercises off the coast of California, the USS Nimitz strike group detected strange radar anomalies. Pilots intercepted what Commander David Fravor described as a smooth, wingless tic-tac shaped craft that defied all known physics. Hovering, darting, and accelerating faster than any human aircraft could, under gravitational forces that would have killed any human pilot. So was the Romanian witness seeing the same kind of craft that Fravor encountered years before? Is this a coincidence, a convincing hoax, or evidence that something far more advanced is watching us from just beyond the clouds? What happened to Dale Kerstetter? On the night of September 12, 1987, 50-year-old Dale Kerstetter walked into his overnight shift at the Corning Glassworks plant in Bradford, Pennsylvania, just as he had done many nights before. But by morning, he had vanished without a trace, along with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of platinum. Dale was a veteran employee, quiet, hard-working, and known in the community as a family man. He worked as the Corning Glassworks plant security guard and maintenance man at night, a role that gave him near complete access to the plant. When co-workers arrived in the morning of September 13th for the first shift, something was very clearly wrong. His truck was still parked outside, and inside the break room, a newspaper sat on the table, along with an untouched dinner, but much like David Glenn Lewis, Dale himself was nowhere to be found. Security cameras seemed to offer the only clue, and when the shift workers reviewed the grainy black and white video footage, they were shocked to see Dale encountering a masked intruder inside the plant. Take a look. At one point, this intruder dressed in black leads him down a hallway, whilst in another chilling shot, Dale glances directly into the surveillance camera, as if silently acknowledging it or pleading in vain for help. This was the last time he was ever seen. Investigating further, Corning Glassworks' daytime security guard discovered the plant's vault was empty. Platinum, worth more than $250,000, a little over $700,000 today, had been stolen. But what role, if any, had Dale played? Was he an unwilling hostage, forced at gunpoint to assist in the heist? Or was he an accomplice, vanishing into the night with both the intruder and the fortune? Theories have swirled ever since. Some believe Kerstetter was kidnapped and killed by professional thieves, and his body disposed of to eliminate the only witness. Others argue he was in on the crime from the beginning, using his valuable nighttime role as cover to stage the perfect inside job. His sudden disappearance would seemingly fit the profile of someone running from justice, yet there was no evidence in his family or friends of sudden wealth, no suspicious financial movements, and no confirmed sightings of Dale after that September night. His family has always maintained that he was a victim, not a criminal, pointing to the unsettling way he looked into the surveillance camera, as if pleading for help. But 38 years later, the mystery remains unsolved, as neither Dale nor the platinum was ever recovered. So was he a loyal employee caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, or a clever thief who managed to vanish forever? The truth behind the disappearance of Dale lies buried somewhere in the shadows of that factory. And if you'd like us to do a deep dive video into this one, let us know in the comments section below. The Haunted Doll. In the dim light of a shadowed room, something unsettling flickers on CCTV. A doll seemingly possessed pushes another doll off its stand. The doll is known as Emily Rose and is encased in glass on a perfectly flat base and is sent crashing to the floor, shattering her container. Take a look. Paranormal investigator Matt Paranormal, operating out of Wrexham, United Kingdom, claims the act was no accident. He believes it was jealousy in motion. He claims another doll, Annie, who is often called the world's most possessed doll, resented the attention Emily Rose was receiving, and side by side on shelves, Annie could no longer abide her spotlight being taken. Matt describes his take on the moment in stunned disbelief, saying he was tidying when he heard the crash. He moved to inspect the shelf and found no scuff marks, no loose floorboards, and no hidden wires or unstable wall fixings. Standing there, Matt and his team scoured the room for clues. However, they found nothing. The ghostly force they believe acted was invisible to human eyes. Matt went even further. He claims people in the room with Emily Rose have reported odd sensations, headaches and heart palpitations, sudden unease, and in his telling, she gives off a sad vibe, a melancholy energy that chills the air. Now, Emily the doll's passing is murky. She was bought from a flea market and her true origin is unknown, whilst her name, Matt claims, came through a spirit portal, whispered in a girl's voice. What do you make of this one? Some people find dolls creepy at the best of times, let alone haunted ones. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, sleep tight, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.